Hey everybody, welcome back to our episode of FSI DFS Fantasy NASCAR picks. I'm your host, Mega 31. I'll do the truck race tonight. I don't know if I'll get to Xfinity. It's only so many hours a day. I really apologize, but listen to what I say about the truck race. A lot of it's going to still apply. The only thing with the Xfinity race is truck race at noon, and the Xfinity race is going to be kind of like a day-night thing. So it might try to get a quick video in. I don't know if I'll get to it. But if you go to fsidfs.com, description of the video, the links there, pricing page, you can get NASCAR for the whole weekend for only $5. It's $3 per day. And if you want to play all sports, it's only $6. It's not super expensive to get all the Xfinity information if you really want it. But as I always say, like I appreciate your viewers and stuff. If you reach out to me, I might just give it to you. So, you can my Twitter X DMs are open and if you can get to go to our social media on X and there's a link to the Discord, just get into the Discord and once you're in the Discord, you can send me a friend request and then we could talk it out there. So on to the truck race. This is the second round of the playoffs. So it's the second race of the final round before Phoenix. So after this, we have Martinsville next week, and then we have Phoenix. Like we're done in 3 weeks from now. It's crazy. Season's flown by, but thank you for continuing to watch. So what we have here pretty much is we have Sanchez and Ankrum that are like kind of way down there. You have Enfinger who won the last race, so he's locked into Phoenix, so he's definitely going to be there. So if any of these drivers win here, they're going to stamp their ticket also. Heim and Akis are almost there on points um, if there's not two unique drivers that win the next week. So I think, that if they have very, very good races here and some of these guys maybe fall away or something, I mean, there was a big accident in Richmond that took out some of the good trucks. So I mean, we have seen that happen. Or maybe it was Darlington, but we a similar track with Tire where we have seen that happen before. So you lose a bunch of these trucks, and it definitely there wasn't it in the Cup Series that a bunch of the drivers got taken out in the Elliott wreck. So it could happen. And if Atkinson and Time are doing well and not involved in it, then they might be able to stamp their way, providing that you don't have two unique winners. But anyways, so Kruth and Majeski are kind of right there on the bubble. They're in the yellow. Tanner Gray is a little bit below it. So those are what the colors are. So Enfinger really he's locked in, ready to go. So this is a high tire wear track, probably one of the worst tracks left out there since they've repaved most of them and taken Auto Club off, and Atlanta got repaved. So Darlington and Richmond are kind of comparable when it comes to tire wear. So I looked at those two races. Darlington was super early in the year. I think it was back in like April. Richmond was in August, so it wasn't too long ago. So I think that's a little bit more comparable, but it kind of gets us the guidelines. So Corey Heim has the pole. He's definitely going to be a dominator candidate, definitely going to be chalky, but and he's good on tire wear tracks. He was good in qualifying, or not qualifying, but practice, but he just really hasn't had good luck on finishing on these tracks. So I could make him the prime play. I think a lot of people will make him a prime play, and I completely get it. But I think that I want you to leave your dominator options open because Taylor Gray finished third at Richmond, eighth at Darlington, has done really well uh, with tire wear tracks, was in the top 10 in speed and practice. You're saving $2,100 here by going with him over Heim, and it could give you a lot of leverage on the field. I think both are equally good cash plays. Like Heim is obviously the head of the class, but it's just a little bit concerning looking at some of the numbers on tire wear tracks. Maybe it was bad luck, maybe it was coincidence, but it's enough for me not to put the prime tag on. But I think both of them could definitely be dominators here. Truth has been really good on tire wear tracks, but I can't put the dominator tag or anything on him. He was think he was like just inside the top 10 in in 15 lap average. So okay with a little bit fall off there, but still 9 trucks are ahead of him. But I think that he's got a lot of upside. Uh, Richie Martin, I've talked about him. He's another guy I know in the industry. Check out his Instagram. He puts a YouTube channel. He puts out some different things for like prop betting and stuff. Um, and he feels that Kruth could potentially win this race. So I threw him in the 20K pool there. Sanchez is had one of the fastest speeds in practice, one of the best 10, 15 lap fall offs. He won Darlington and Richmond. I think he had a mechanical issue or something. I think it was a clutch went out on him. So, but he was doing good before that. So I think he's got a lot of upside to be a dominator here also. And he's it's like the Lex and Three Bears. If you think Heim is too expensive and Taylor Gray is too cheap, then maybe Nick Sanchez is just right for you. So, and he's got a lot, but you do run the risk of them maybe being out there for stage points and stuff to try to catch up. But I think that they're so far behind down there, like 20 points out or so, that you potentially would not see them trying to get stage points because they probably can't point their way and they need to go for wins. I know there's still another race after this and it's not complete desperation time, but we might be getting really close to that situation. So I think that there's a lot of upside with Sanchez being in that situation. Let me just pull it up quick here just to see how far out he is. Uh 20 points. So it's not that bad, but still, I mean that is doable. And even Ankrum, who's the furthest one out, is negative 23. Um, with Majeski being a positive 5 over Kruth, and then Taylor Gray is negative 13. I think that he's definitely going to have some work to do, but I don't know how they're going to approach it. But I think it's going to be going for the win. Majeski, I think he's going to be very chalky. I think he's going, if you look at it, he won Richmond. He finished fourth in Darlington. He's always been good on tire wear tracks. But for some reason, his speed wasn't the greatest here in practice. And even like the fall off was like one of the worst ones with everybody that stayed out there with 10 laps. So I'm going to put him as the upside dominator just because that's a little suspicious to me. So normally he's good here. Maybe it's just an anomaly. Maybe. And here's what some of the drivers do sometimes. Sometimes they try to push the limit and they stay out there on old tires as long as they can just to kind of gauge the fall off. And obviously you saw it didn't work. And so maybe they pushed it past the breaking point and now they know like when um, how many laps they need on these tires, or like maybe they proved their point or got the data they needed. So maybe we're reading too much into it. So I'm still going to consider. I'm still going to play him. I don't know if I'm going to play him in cash just because I want to be a little bit careful with this. But definitely an upside dominator in GPP. And he's another one with the yellow there that's like in it right now that might be conservative and might be racing more for stage points than track position. Hayden Honeycutt didn't race Darlington, 14th in Richmond. Started a little bit too far forward here, but I think he's got upside, especially looking at his speed in practice. Has some good fall off, and I think he can maybe stay in the top 10. So GPP, I'll keep him in the upside dominator pool. Daniel Dye, you're right off Darlington because he started pretty well. I think in the side of the top 10. He just got involved in an accident or had something happen to him that kind of derailed his day. But Richmond, he was decent. He was in the top 10. He was in He looked really good in his speed and fall off in practice. And starting seventh in qualifying, I think there's a lot of upside here. So he's going to be another driver in my 20K lineup. I guess this is going to be our first prime play here. Again, he probably has enough points to potentially get in if he plays it right. But with a third at Darlington, a second at Richmond, was in the top 10 in fall off in practice speed. eighth. There's a little bit of place differential. I could see him get up there and potentially leading this race too. And obviously, it seems like McNally Hellman has something going on because they got two trucks here in the top 10 qualifying. And they looked pretty good. I think that he'll be up there. And hardware tracks he'd been really, really good on also. So prime play for me. And Finger, again, I don't know like what they're going to do here. If they're going to, because they're already in Phoenix, like this doesn't really help them, I don't think, uh, that much with unless they're going to try to be out there investing stuff. Like you think like maybe Martinsville would be a more comparable track to Phoenix. Uh, it's usually well Richmond, Gateway, New Hampshire, so the shorter flat tracks, and I don't really feel that this is um this is an intermediate track, so I don't think you can really compare it, but who knows? So upside dominator definitely 16th in Darlington, fourth in Richmond, had the numbers in practice and everything. So definitely playable, but I'm playing more in GPPs than cash. The seven truck, Kyle Busch drove it and wrecked it in one, and the other one was a pretty good finish for whoever was in it. It wasn't Mozak. Don't know how he is on tire wear, but I think he's got a lot of upside in this truck with the team. They could maybe coach him through it a little bit to get the feel for it. So it definitely has some upside. Curry and Friesen, I think they're okay on tire tracks. They weren't in the top 10 in fall off and speed and practice. So I don't hate them, but I don't love them either here. Lane Riggs had a pretty good run going on and then lost a little bit of momentum, but I still think finished fifth in Richmond. So that's when he was starting to climb the mountain to his like peak where he won early on in the playoffs. And I think the potential is still there. A little disappointed with the practice speeds, but nothing that was super egregious. So I think that for 20K driver, I think people are going to overlook him and try to play these playoff drivers and forget, a couple weeks ago when he was on the top of his game, that if that form returns, and he's a perfect driver, put in your 20K lineup. Dawson Sutton in the Rackley truck. Nice qualifying effort here. Didn't really see anything in practice that stood out. Think you're starting too far forward. Fade for me. Ankrum, hit or miss here. He was did well in fall off and actually probably is the lowest qualifier that was kind of in the top 10 in speed in practice and when the 15 run or 15 lap runs there. So he's definitely has the potential. I think I like him in cash. He has been a volatile guy and has found some trouble. Not as much as some other drivers have, but still a little apprehensive. So the 26 in Darlington, but I think you can still play him in cash lineups. Zilich went up to Xfinity Series and has done quite well here. Drops down into this Henderson Motorsports. It's not Hendricks, it's Henderson, but they've been a solid program here. And speaking of solid programs, feel really bad if I didn't mention already that Brett Holmes Racing closed up shop, so they're not going to race at all here the rest of the year. Next three races, hopefully he finds a ride in the future in the truck series. Very solid driver. They were a very solid team, but just couldn't make enough to keep the lights on. So sorry to hear that. But hopefully there will be an opportunity for him at some point. But here you have another uh, young guy in a decent team. He's going to be in the Xfinity Series next year, so he's running some of these truck races just to get some more experience. I think he's going to be highly owned just for what people have seen him do in Xfinity. I think it's a good team, and I think he's a cash play. But I like Chase Purdy as the prime play here. I don't know if many people will be on Purdy, but fifth in Darlington and had a little bit of issue in Richmond, but he's been solid on tire wear tracks also. So I really like his point per dollar play, and I think he can get up into the top, sniff the top 10 and have a solid day here. Dean Thompson, just if you look at his numbers, 29th and 32, he's been very consecutive on consistent on tire wear tracks, and it hasn't been good. the consistency, so it'll be a fade for me. Ben Rhodes, I think he's going to be highly owned here also with a second and seventh. I didn't put him as a prime play just because of his practice speeds really didn't blow me away. They didn't concern me either. So can't play everybody, but I do like him as a cash play or a cash fill in if he might be priced in no man's land if you're trying to get a lot of those 10K guys up. But if you don't go Heim, if you go with like Ray or Sanchez as your dominator, then it should be easy to get Rhodes into your lineup. Swalich, the truck finished seventh at Darlington. I don't believe he was driving it. He was 22nd. So I think he can be a cash play here. I think he'll have medium ownership. He's a good driver. It's a good team. Again, it's just the whole like, how does he do with tire wear? And we'll have to find that out. Corey Day, same thing. If you look at this team, this is the third or fourth truck that they have, and Ankrum and Eckes and Dye usually do well on tire wear tracks, and Eckes and Dye qualified really well here. So I think there's a lot of upside for Day. So I think he's going to be highly owned just based on his team, his starting position, and his name and what he's done. And I think you can play him in cash. Crafton, I think a lot of people will look at this and consider him maybe a smash play down here. But I just Darlington wasn't great. I think he got caught up in that wreck. I think he started like 22nd or something and finished 15th at Richmond. So I know he's got a lot of experience on tire wear tracks, but they're kind of looking for next year. I don't know if they're really like out. It seems like they're just going through the motions to finish out the season. So I just GPP for me. I can't play him in cash. Connor Jones down here. Thor Sports also. I mean, the 66 truck was broke down in the Richmond race, and in Darlington, he just kind of finished where he started. So at 66, I think there's better plays out there. For $100 less, I would go if I don't have Joe Garcia already in my lineup, I'd rather take him or Matt Mills is right below him. You're saving $400. Matt Mills finished 11th in Darlington. Um, I think he also had a mechanical issue or had some got an accident or something that wasn't his fault in at Richmond. So, but if you throw that out, he's always been when he was in Xfinity Series, he's always been a good tire wear track driver. So, and I think he's gonna have low ownership. So, I think this might be a very sneaky one for you. Timmy Hill, a great driver, owner program. It's a little bit far forward, but I think at 5,500, starting 25th, even if he drops a few spots, I think he'll be solid. But 13th and 19th in these tire wear tracks this season. So hitting on something there. And in both of the races, he pretty much started 25th and moved up to 13th and 19th. So I see the consistency there. Definitely play him in cash. Love him as value play. Jake Garcia, I think he'll be highly owned down here with the 20th and 13th finish. It's pretty much the same thing, but you're paying $1,000 more for him over Timmy Hill. Is the Thor Sports truck with Jake Garcia really that much better than Timmy Hill? I mean, that's your personal discussion there. Wallace Allen, I think you can play in cash down here also. Only one race, but started in the 20s and finished 18th, so it was about 10 place differential points. And I think here's the equal potential for that there. Connor Daly in this Nice truck, I think that's another this one I think is borderline cash, but at 6K, I think he can do enough to get everything done if the truck holds up. Nathan Bird did not run this truck, but the truck finished 15th at Darlington, I believe Mason Massey. So I think a GPP. Andretti and Frankie Muniz, who has got a full-time ride with Reum, but he's in the 33, which isn't even in the field, which is kind of strange. I don't know why they would. Oh no, actually, it's Lawless Allen. So Allen must be moving on someplace. I forget where. Munoz will be in that truck, but this will be his team. So a little bit of a preview for him to come and start for a couple races, and then jump in. We'll see how he goes next year. This truck finished 27th at Darlington. It didn't race in Richmond. So I'm not expecting much. So fade for me, especially like I know he's run some Arca, but I don't know how he's going to be on tire wear tracks. And then Mondiak in this young truck, uh, GPP potentially. Tanner Gray is definitely going to be a lock here. He's going to be good chalk. 10th place finish, 12th place finish. Couldn't make a qualifying run. So that's the only reason. He'll be fine. Chalk play here. Just got to lock him into. He'll be probably one, just like we've seen over the last couple of weeks, will probably be anywhere from 60 to 75% owned. And 7,400 is not expensive, good chalk that you have to, sacrifice other dominators up top. It's definitely a mid-range play that you can throw in your lineup, even GPPs, everything. I play as much Tanner Gray as you can just because he's a good driver. He should smash. He's got a tremendous floor and nothing but upside. And Spencer Boyd starting last year. Now there's only 34 trucks in the field, so Spencer Boyd automatically starts with 6 points. So, I mean, that's huge. But they didn't qualify either because they had some issues going on. And Freedom Racing Enterprises hasn't been the most stable truck. So it is a little risky in the GPP here. But, if you're looking at these, even if you go up to like starting with like the 6 points because it's always scored on 40 points no matter how many trucks are in the field. So less trucks are in the field, it does curtail place differential because you don't have like a 40 plate driver that can move up to 30th and still suck and get 10 place differential points at minimum value and be like smash play. But you also don't have drivers that can fall 30 places from like the 10th. You're only falling 24 places. So that kind of helps too. So with all that said, it's Spencer Boyd. If you think the truck can hold up, it can be playing GPP. So I got for you. If you have any questions, post chat below. Hit me at MegaRoar31 on Twitter/X. So that already said, you can go into the description of the video and get. And also, if you go to the description of the channel, the link to our Discord is there. I don't know if I'll get to Xfinity video. It's like already 12:20 in the East Coast. I'm gonna go to bed. I mean, if I get up tomorrow morning, I'll see if I can get around to get it out. I do have to work tomorrow. Maybe I'll be able to get it out at lunch break or something like that. I will try, but no promises. I definitely will have the cup video for you, and I'll try to get NFL also. So, barring any technical difficulties like last weekend when the internet wasn't working. So, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If these videos help us back. Like, subscribe to the channel, share with your friends, and good luck in your contest. Hope you have an amazing weekend. I'll see you next time.